Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. And if you are new here, on Fridays we do things a little bit different. I cover viewer-requested stories from the week. I include stories that we were going to put in previous shows but had to be cut for time. And so with that said, let's just jump into it. The first thing we're going to talk about today, Tide Pod-related news and updates. I hate 2018. We've seen a few things. One, we've seen pictures and videos go viral of people going to stores seeing that Tide Pods and laundry detergent, they're locked up now. I wanted to mention that because that is not a response to what is happening now. That's just something stores have done for several years now. Apparently, laundry detergent is a high-risk product that gets stolen a lot. Two, because of course this is happening, there are donut shops and other establishments that are now selling products that you can eat that look similar to a Tide Pod. And finally, three, there are people still actually uploading videos doing the Tide Pod challenge, and one recently was a longtime YouTuber. It was incredibly disappointing to see. Longtime YouTuber Glozell uploaded a video actually doing the Tide Pod challenge. It ended up being removed by YouTube. This for violating YouTube's policy on harmful or dangerous content. The version she put on Instagram is still up though.
Hey, cilantro, it is disgusting, it's nasty, and it tastes like soap. It's the same thing. But no, these are like tiny and cute or something. I don't really understand.
And I hate doing this because I've met Glozell in person. She's a sweetheart. I've met her family. They're great. But this is fucking stupid. I expect this from some stupid teenager that's trying to make it big. Not from an established YouTuber where you have these kids watching and looking up to this person and they're doing this ridiculous thing that hopefully they don't mimic. I understand when YouTubers get to a certain point, maybe the views aren't where they used to be, they start chasing, but this is harmful. The Tide Pod Challenge should stay a fucking meme, not a thing that YouTubers are promoting to their audience. And I think anyone that needs to be told that probably isn't hearing what I'm saying. And then we have to talk about the horrible update that has come out on that story we covered early this week about the 13 brothers and sisters who were shackled and starved by their parents. Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestron spoke with the media and gave horrifying details of what was happening to these 13 siblings.
Starting many years ago, they began to be tied up. Punishments included frequent beatings and even strangulation. These punishments would last for weeks or even months at a time. The victims were often not released from their chains to go to the bathroom. All the victims were and are severely malnourished. None of the victims were allowed to shower more than once a year. Several of the victims have cognitive impairment and neuropathy, which is nerve damage as a result of this extreme and prolonged physical abuse.
Can we all agree that these parents aren't worthy of breathing air anymore? These absolute monsters. I don't even want to call them the parents, the mother and father. They taint that title. How do you do this to another human being, let alone your 13 children? Once again, something I said on the last show, and I'm just thinking about it again, just hearing the accounts of what they went through. I just hope that any of the 13, and I feel like the youngest, it's most likely for them, they can have some sort of normalcy now. And as far as these two monsters, they have pled not guilty to all charges. And they're both facing 12 counts of torture, 12 counts of false imprisonment, 7 counts of abuse of a dependent adult, and 6 counts of child abuse. Additionally, David Turpin was also charged with 1 count of a lewd act on a child under the age of 14 by force, fear, or duress. And if they are found guilty of all of these crimes, they face a potential 94 years to life in prison. And my response to that is good. If these two never took another breath, I'd be happy. But it almost does seem like poetic justice for someone that imprisoned their children to never live another free day for the rest of their lives. Maybe that's actually the better punishment here. And I'll actually pass that question off to you. What are your thoughts on that? And then let's talk about the New California Movement. People want me to talk about Robert Paul Preston, Tom Reed. They're the founders of the New California Movement. They've grown very frustrated with California, saying that it's ungovernable, calling California a failed state, and that's why they want to make a 51st state. And their plan involves separating the rural areas of California from the coastal cities, creating a brand new economy, a brand new constitution, and here's what New California would look like. And if you're wondering, yes, it does look oddly similar to the current breakdown of the state legislature. Overall, they'd be creating a new red state. And here's a clip of Preston arguing his case to CBS.
There's something wrong when you have a rural county such as this, when you go down to Orange County, which is mostly urban, and it's got the same set of problems. There's something that's causing that same set of problems, and it happens to be how the state is being being governed and taxed.
Now, to pull this off, here's what Article 4, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution says would need to happen. New states may be admitted by the Congress into this union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of states without the consent of the legislatures of the states concerned as well as of the Congress. Or just to give you the TLDR of that, essentially state lawmakers would have to vote and then Congress would have to approve it. So based on the current makeup of the state, to call this a long shot would be very giving. But still, that said, the group is moving forward. On Monday, they released a Declaration of Independence. They've also begun putting together a list of organized county committees who would then spread the word locally, get support locally. And as far as the timing, they said it's going to take between 10 to 18 months before they're fully ready to engage with the state legislature. Now, as far as my opinion on this, I kind of get it. If you actually go through all of California, the differences between some of the areas are massive. It's also not a unique idea. You might remember, if you were a longtime viewer of the show, back in 2014, there was this guy in Silicon Valley who wanted to split California into 6 states. That ended up failing to get on the ballot. Maybe we're in a slightly different situation thanks to the new tax rules. The tax situation in California has been generally shitty. With the new tax rules, it's shitty on a whole different level. So maybe that creates a special moment in time where something like this could actually be pushed through, but if I was to bet on it, I would still say no. That said, we'll wait and see in what comes next from this movement. Then let's talk about making babies, specifically unwanted babies. And the reason we're talking about that is this week, a hospital in Sweden reported that at least 37 women have had unwanted pregnancies after using an app for birth control. And until I went through this story, I had never heard of this, but yes, this app is reportedly used by 700,000 people worldwide, 400,000 in the EU. It's called Natural Cycles. It's even certified as a form of birth control in the European Union. And how it works, the user takes their temperature every morning with a basal thermometer. That temperature gets put into an algorithm which accounts for sperm survival rates, temperature fluctuations, cycle irregularities, and then boom, the algorithm tells you if it's a green day or a red day. According to their website, our app will analyze your cycle and tell you exactly when you need to use protection or can enjoy more sexual freedom with your loved one. And they also state they found when used perfectly, the app is 99% effective, and when used typically, it's 93% effective. To which, if you see 93%, you're probably like, oh, well, that's not a great number. We're talking about the possibility of creating another human life. Let's get 99.9999. Well, just a thing to keep in mind, according to the CDC, condoms fail 18% of the women that use them as contraception. Birth control pills fail them 9% of the time. Those numbers are horrifying. If I actually knew those numbers back when I was trying not to have babies, I don't think I'd be able to get it up. I thought I was working with better odds. 18%? I didn't know I was essentially playing Russian roulette with a 6-shooter aimed at my future. That's crazy. Also, I feel like this thought should be reserved for someone that's high, but isn't it just, it's a crazy thing that you can accidentally make another person? Someone's probably already done a bit about this, but that blows my mind. Like, you can accidentally leave your keys in the car, you can accidentally stub your toe, but create a human life as a whoopsie, it should require a lot of work. Like, it kind of feels like it just needs to be a little bit harder. Anyway, as far as what the company has to say about these unwanted pregnancies, they responded, no contraception is 100% effective, and unwanted pregnancies is an unfortunate risk with any contraception. Natural Cycles has a Pearl Index of 7, which means it is 93% effective at typical use, which we also communicate. At first sight, the numbers mentioned in the media are not surprising given the popularity of the app and in line with our efficacy rates. As our user base increases, so will the amount of unintended pregnancies coming from Natural Cycles app users, which is an inevitable reality. But still, as of right now, the hospital reported the app to Sweden's Medical Products Agency. The MPA says they received 50 complaints about the app, a representative also saying the investigation is still in an early phase. The MPA has requested the manufacturer to submit vigilance reports within 2 weeks. Natural Cycles is complying, and in general, the situation seems pretty straightforward. But I guess the main point of this story is if you don't want to get pregnant, you want 100% guarantee, just put it in your mouth, you will 100% not get pregnant. You may get other stuff, but no babies. Then, one of the heavily requested stories this week had to do with Donald Trump and adult film star Stormy Daniels. And the reason I didn't cover this story this week is it seemed like it was this weird tabloidy mess where there really weren't facts. Also, I was personally of the mindset of this being the least meaningful Trump news this week. But that said, because it's been requested, we'll walk through it and then I'll explain why. Last week, the Wall Street Journal comes out with this story. They say there's an alleged payout to keep a 2006 affair of Trump's quiet. They allege that 1 month before the 2016 election, one of Trump's lawyers arranged a $130,000 payout to keep Stormy Daniels quiet about their affair. And when asked about the alleged affair, the White House said, these are old recycled reports which were published and strongly denied prior to the election. Trump's lawyer Michael Cohen adding, President Trump once again vehemently denies any such occurrence, as has Ms. Daniels. This is now the second time that you are raising outlandish allegations against my client. You have attempted to perpetuate this false narrative for over a year, a narrative that has been consistently denied by all parties since at least 2011. Donald Trump's lawyer also releasing a letter on January 10th. It denies any sexual relationship. It's signed by Stormy Daniels. Now, when Donald Trump's lawyer mentions 2011, he's doing so because in that year, The Dirty received information about a Trump-Stormy affair. But because of the threat of lawsuits, they decided to take down their article on it, but managed to leave up the original accusation. And when this happened, Trump denied that the affair had taken place, and Daniels called the rumors bullshit. But then in walks In Touch magazine. Now, considering the source, I am extremely skeptical, but In Touch magazine claims they approached Stormy Daniels in 2011. They say they have a first-person interview with her. They say her story is corroborated by her friend Randy Spears, as well as her ex-husband Mike Moz. They also say Stormy Daniels took and passed a polygraph test, which also, if we say that this definitely did happen, I won't take that as proof of anything, nor should any court of law. And in this alleged interview, they say that she said a few key things, saying she confirms in her own words that she had sex with Donald Trump in his Lake Tahoe, Nevada hotel suite. This in 2006. He was married to Melania Trump at the time. And some of the excerpts included, Trump came to the gift lounge her adult film company Wicked Pictures sponsored. He asked for her number, which she gave him. This before they posed for a photo together, which is the photo you've been seeing. Then she allegedly says, he asked me if I wanted to have dinner that night. And I was like, yeah, of course. She said she got dressed to go out. She showed up to the room. Trump was wearing pajama pants. She says we ended up having dinner in the room. She goes to the restroom. Then she says, when I came out, he was sitting on the bed and he was like, come here. And I was like, ugh, here we go. And we start kissing. She says they have sex. And then after, we hung out for a little while and he just kept saying, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you. I have to see you again. You're amazing. We have to get you on The Apprentice. One of the other lines going around, we had really good banter. He told me once that I was someone to be reckoned with. Beautiful, smart, just like his daughter. Now, we've also seen a story come from Slate by Jacob Weisberg. He says that he was in contact with Stormy Daniels, that Daniels did indeed have a story about Trump. She related it to him in a series of phone conversations and text exchanges in 2016, saying she and Trump had begun a sexual relationship. It continued for nearly a year. She didn't allege any kind of abuse, insisting she was not a victim. He then writes, Daniels said that through intermediaries, she and Trump had worked out an agreement for the presidential candidate to pay her a six-figure sum to keep quiet. Daniels told me that agreement involved a complicated arrangement to shield the real names of the parties, saying she texted me an unsigned two-page document spelling out this arrangement, adding the document she texted me indicated that in the main agreement, a document I never saw, Stephanie Gregory Clifford, aka Stormy Daniels, is referred to by the pseudonym Peggy Peterson, and blank is referred to by the pseudonym David Dennison. But then later writing, about a week before the election, Daniels stopped responding to calls and text messages. A friend of hers told me Daniels had said she'd taken the money from Trump after all. Then last night, the Wall Street Journal struck again with another article. Here they claim that a source familiar with the matter gave them more details on how the whole situation went down. Allegedly on October 17th, 2016, Trump's lawyer Michael Cohen sets up a company called Essential Consultants LLC in Delaware. And they claim these corporate documents show that Cohen used a bank account linked to Essential Consultants to send money to a trust account of a lawyer representing Stormy Daniels. Now what's really weird with this document is Michael Cohen is actually listed as an authorized person. So why didn't he just hire another lawyer to help cover his tracks? Now in addition to this, the Journal source corroborated that the documents published by Slate that show the agreement use pseudonyms is legit. And as far as the responses from this, when the Journal tried to contact Mr. Cohen, he gave the same response. President Trump once again vehemently denies any such occurrence, as has Ms. Clifford. And Stormy Daniels' former lawyer responded, I previously represented Ms. Daniels. Attorney-client privilege prohibits me from commenting on my client's legal matters. Now that said, a thing I do want to note, of the documents released so far, we haven't seen bank statements, we haven't seen any public evidence that a transaction has 100% taken place, nor have we seen the full agreement or a fully signed agreement. That said, it does seem to add some substance to the claim. There are also articles now coming out saying a former political consultants who advised Daniels on a possible Senate run in 2009, which you may remember, said the actress claimed Trump asked her to spank him with a copy of Forbes featuring his face on the cover. But for me personally, I have too many questions. Why did this interview happen in 2011, but it wasn't published until now? I question the main source, and then I also think this doesn't hurt Trump. I just think about all the Donald Trump news that's out there, and I don't even mean just the stuff that with him being president, the stuff he's said, the stuff he's done, the things that he's done before the presidency. Just take into account stories about Donald Trump and women. He's been accused of sexual misconduct by at least 19 women. We will forever have grab her by the pussy.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy.
Right, whether you thought that was the most disgusting thing ever, that he was talking about sexual assault, or he was just talking about picking up women, that still happened in the same year that he married Melania. He was married at the time. He was also talking about trying to fuck other married women. Not the craziest thing to assume that he wasn't faithful. And let's say worst case scenario, this Stormy Daniels thing actually happened. Even though it is a whataboutism, people will point to Bill Clinton, who got blown in the Oval Office. For people hoping to take Trump down, this just does not move the needle. And in the midst of the Me Too movement, the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, this seems like a lesser story. So even in the realm of stories about sex, this is still pretty low on the totem pole. But with all of that said, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Not only of, do you think it happened, it didn't happen, do you think that it matters or it doesn't matter? Because with this story, what we're talking about are allegations of two things: cheating and then hiding it with money. But that said, that's where I'm gonna end today's show. I'd love to know your thoughts on this last story, the first one, anything in between, and so let me know those things in the comments down below. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you you liked this video, you like what I try and do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss these daily weekday videos, which actually, if you did miss yesterday's show, you want to catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you want to watch the newest behind the scenes vlog, click or tap right there to watch that. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you Monday.